Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel Post-Colonial Literature Unit Number 1. Introduction. Post-colonial literature is the body of writing produced in countries that were once colonies of European empires, British, France, Portuguese, Dutch. It studies how colonialism affected culture, identity, language, politics, psychology and literature. Post-colonialism में हम देखते हैं जो colonialism था उसके effect क्या पड़ा culture, identity, language and politics and psychology में. Okay. It emerged strongly after World War II when colonized nations gained political independence but continued to struggle with cultural domination and economic inequality. जो वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद भी इकोनॉमिक देन कल्चरल के लिए कैसे इनइक्वालिटी होना पड़ा उसके बारे में बताया गया है. दिस यूनिट फोकसेस ऑन टू की ideas, historical background and major themes of essential understanding of the post-colonial text. Okay, now come to the concept of decolonization, globalization and literature. Decolonization means ending colonial rule, not only politically but also mentally, culturally and economically. Ending of the colonial rule. Okay, that is concept of the decolonization. Okay, इसको decolonization बोलते हैं. How decolonization appears in literature? Reclaiming native history from colonial misrepresentation, writing in one's native language, Nugi Wat Yongo. Okay, recovering suppressed identities, questioning colonial stereotypes, showing psychological trauma of colonialization. Okay, Panonist ideas. Okay, Brown's Panonist ideas. Why important? Because even after political freedom colonized, societies continue to suffer from cultural inferiority complexes, loss of tradition, knowledge, language, and domination, racial hierarchies. Okay, as well as decolonization in literature tries to restore pride, voice, agency, and self-definition. Globalization and literature. Globalization refers to the interconnected world flow people, goods, language, and culture across borders. Effects of globalization and post-colonial literature. Positive exchange of ideas and culture. Spirit of marginalized voice globally. Diasporic writers gain recognition. Okay, Adise, then Solomon Rushdie, then Dereguel Code. Okay, negative. Then negative culture, homogenization, Western dominance, loss of local language and traditions, market-driven literature. Okay, then global South is still economically dependent on the global north. That's it. Now come to the key ideas. Even after colonization ends, globalization becomes a new kind of soft colonization in neo-colonialism. Now the literature and identity and politics. Identity politics means how people develop identity based on race, gender, sexuality, language, caste, and ethnicity. Okay, class or in post-colonial societies, identity is fragmented because colonial rule forced people to accept European religion or culture, abandon their language, follow European education, and imitate Western lifestyle. Okay, this created the famous double consciousness by W.E. Du Bois, seeing oneself through the eyes of others. How literature explores identity politics, struggle between tradition versus modernity. Hybridity by Homi Bhabha. Okay, Homi K. Bhabha's concept. Search for roots belonging whom. Alienation and diasporic individuals, fluid identities shaped by migration. Then region, rank and gender. Region, post-colonial literature represents geographical regions, Africa, Caribbean, South Asia and Australia. Local landscape, rural versus urban tensions. Regional dialects and folklore, the region becomes a site of resistance and against colonial homogenization. Colonialism was built on racial hierarchy, white superior, black brown inferior. Okay, post-colonial writers exposes this racism, stereotypes created by colonizers. Okay, internalized racism, violence and discrimination, reclaiming black identity, pride, Penon Asebe. Okay, then the Alex, Haley, and Baldwin and silence these narratives. Now, gender. Women in colonies were doubly oppressed. Okay, by colonial rule, by patriarchy. Within their own culture, post-colonial feminist writers address women's bodies as colonized space, exploitation, slavery, sexual violence, silence of women, reclaiming female agency. Writers like Busi Meseta, okay, for example, Amata Aido, then the Simanda Adise, then Orunduti Roy, okay, then Jean Rhee, give of the marginalized women. Post-colonial literature and questions from post-colonial writers experiment with new literary forms. Language, some write in English to reach global audience. Okay, then the orders reject and return of the native language, for example Nugi Wat Yongo. Okay, use of Creole and the Pidgin and vernacular language and bilingual storytelling, narrative technique, magical realism, for example, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, okay, then non-linear timelines, then storytelling through folklore, multiple narrators, oral traditions. These forms challenge the Western idea of what proper novel should be. Okay, genre and innovation, post-colonial writers reinvent the novel, the epic, testimonial writing, slave narratives, migration narratives, protest literature. Their writing brings colonial forms to create new literary identities. Major themes and unit one in the important for exam: resistance and reclaiming identity, struggle of break from colonial power, hybridity, okay, a mixture of culture and language and identities. Language as a power, English is a screen as a colonial tool, and global language, memory and trauma, violence, slavery and displacement and colonization, okay. Then migration and diaspora, experienced people who moved from their homeland to foreign countries, okay. Nationalism and cultural revival, rediscovery of indigenous culture, new colonialism. So new forms of domination and true economy media and media. Why this unit is important for examination point of view? It gives a theoretical foundation of studying post-colonial novels, plays and poetry, okay. Helps you understanding writers like Chinua Achebe and Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Derrick and Pablo Neruda. Shows how literature becomes a tool of resistance and self-definition, okay. So that's it. So if you like this video,